First name on the list?
James W. Zaccardi.
Before you get started, let me just explain. Citizens Corner allows the citizens to ask questions, to make statements, to speak on any subject that they would like to. And this is not an official meeting. This is kind of off the record. And you will be afforded additional time during public comment at our regular scheduled meeting, which will start at 7 o'clock tonight. If we cut you off, you won't be totally short of time, because we would expect you to come back and represent your case or your problem or your suggestions or whatever during public comment or public hearing. So go ahead and speak your name and where you're from and tell us what you'd like to tell us.
My name is James Zaccardi, and I live in Northeast, actually Red Point, a little south of Northeast, and I moved here about 11 years ago. I came from the state of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I was really shocked to see that little girl get killed New Year's Eve by a shotgun slug. I have a neighbor who is very irresponsible on how he shoots his guns, and after she got killed, and he just recently got arrested for trying to shoot a Verizon worker or take shots at a Verizon worker, I got very proactive, or sort of proactive, in trying to think of how we could pass some gun safety laws. I started my gun career when I was 5 years old. My father was a police officer in Philadelphia and taught me gun safety at a very early age. Also, I was a physician and took care of policemen in Philadelphia and had a permit to carry a concealed weapon for 2 years. When I did that, I had a psychiatric examination and also had to go to the police range to prove that I was proficient with a weapon. My next door neighbor will shoot into my property. Sometimes this is none and untrue. 500-600 rounds. He has no idea where he's shooting into. He has no control of downrange. And when I try to ask the sheriff's department about this and then the state police, there really are no laws in this county or the state of Maryland in regards to gun safety in that aspect. I believe this represents certainly a danger to myself, other citizens. You know, when you go to a gun range, there are certain rules and regulations you have to comply with. If not, you're asked quickly to leave, or somebody will come and take you away. I really think that as Cecil County needs to think about some gun law safety. I know the other laws haven't done so well, but this may be a place to start. A gun is a dangerous weapon. I don't have to tell you. If you have a rifle, a hunting rifle, it has a trajectory and a range of at least a half a mile. So if you shoot into the woods, you could kill something a half a mile away and not know that anything was there. I think we should think about formulating some rules and regulations or laws in reference to gun use. If not, eventually gun ownership and how we allow people to use guns in this community. You know, in my community, New Year's Eve, everybody's shooting into the air, and I know they're live weapons. My next door neighbor has semi-automatic weapons, and he's shooting bullets that I have no idea how far the trajectory of that, or the distance of those bullets can go. It's firing into an unknown, into unknown targets. I would certainly like our government to think about making some consideration of passing some reasonable laws. You know, I understand people have to hunt, and I love people that hunt. And people who target shoot, I love to target shoot myself, but I certainly would like to see this done in a safe manner. Thank you very much.
Have you seen any gun safety laws in other jurisdictions in Maryland or anywhere else that you think could be used as a model
You know,
in Maryland or Cecil County?
There are some laws. Some states I know have a 300-foot. You can't shoot a gun within 300 foot of any residence. You have to have control of downrange. I haven't really come across any definite. I don't know of any definite laws, but I know in New Jersey there was a law about distance from residence. Obviously, if you start to think about some laws, some of them would be arbitrary, because I don't think there's any studies that show if you shoot a certain amount of distance from a home or into a property that it's going to be safe. I think some of it would have to be arbitrary, but I can certainly do some more research into this.
I would like you to do that if you don't mind, and search around and see if there's any gun law safety regulations in other jurisdictions that you believe that we could model our laws from, or something that would think that would create a basic framework to build off of.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Hodge.
thank you.
I'll come back, and I won't stay tonight, but I'll come back and get you some information.
Before you leave,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
think
President.
y'all have something.
Yeah, I
to
have a
say.
little bit of information. I know that the state grants authority to all the counties to establish such regulations that he's speaking about. And we've had some complaints in the past, or some inquiries in the past. Cecil County is one of those counties that hasn't enacted any local regulations, but I know Hartford County and some other counties in the state have, and we could be able to.
Would you be willing to look up Hartford County and other?
Yeah, I have some of that information I can pass on to you.
All right.
And I'll look at some other states. I know some police officers in other states that I'll canvass and get back to you, Mr. Hodge. Thank you very much.
All right. I want to apologize. There's only 2 council members here. I'm Robert Hodge, and this is Joyce Ballsby, and I have no clue where the rest of them are. I'm sorry. But it is what it is.
They're out in the
Okay. Mr. Massey, would you read the next name, please?
Dean Giacomus.
Close.
Close. Thank you.
Dean, would you repeat your name?
Sure. My name is
correctly,
Dean.
and where you live?
Sure. My name is Dean Gerasimus. I live in Chesapeake City, Maryland, reside at 333 Walnut Drive. I wanted to come talk to you this evening about what I consider maybe one of the silliest things I've seen. Obviously I'm a business person here in Cecil County. I've invested millions of dollars, and I've built 3 in-between shopping centers. I have Alexander's Village in Elkton. I have 4 buildings in Chesapeake City called South Village, and I have a building in Northeast. The address is Northeast. It's right across from Cecil College, and it's called College Crossing. It's been very difficult, as you know, the last few years in maintaining tenants and getting tenants. And the College Crossing building that I built, unfortunately I built it right, got it started right as the floor fell out in the market. It's been a long struggle for the last 4 years to fill the building, and I'm finally at that point. In the last 6 months I've landed tenants, and I have down to my last tenant, and we put in for all the plans for a doctor's office. And I was absolutely shocked and amazed that there had to be within the last year or year and a half that a new zoning ordinance went into effect that disallows my doctor's office inside the strip center. This, to me, really makes it very cumbersome. I mean, this is hurting. I pride myself on bringing in new business into the county, different businesses, whether it's a swim school or a daycare or different things like that enhance the county. The fact that I cannot put a doctor's office into a shopping center, it's called a doc in a box. It's where you have a family doctor, or also if you're sliding in a second base and rising sun and you need stitches, you'd be able to go there and get taken care of. I'm asking for some clarification in the zoning ordinance section 161, number one, where it has to be a setback of 200 feet from a private residence. Well, every center I have, and the majority of centers I would think here in the county, there's, we're not in the metropolitan area here. There's a private residence within 200 feet. Doesn't make sense to me, and I'm just hoping that, if it doesn't make sense to, well, there's two of you here, but if it doesn't make sense to the two of you, and hopefully some more, that, something can be done about this. This is certainly hurting business.
I can only tell you that I voted against that particular clinic ordinance. I thought it was inappropriate. We heard testimony from doctors in the hospital and others that it was too onerous and would have a negative impact on the opportunity for doctors, in particular, just general practitioners or family physicians, to locate offices in neighborhoods. And the intent, in my opinion, was to prevent a methadone clinic from siting in a particular parcel of property and in Cecil County near Elton. But there was a whole lot of collateral damage when that ordinance was passed over my objections.
And Executive Morris, she was a commissioner.
Yeah, the county
Voted
executive.
against it as well.
Now,
I was
subsequently, it's gotten us into a lawsuit, and so it's gotten very complicated. And I believe that when the lawsuit is settled, well, this isn't going to help you because you're caught in the middle with others that have had to go through appeals. But as soon as the lawsuit is settled, I think that we will revisit that clinic ordinance and revise it so that it's more reasonable and will protect the citizens, yet not try to inhibit good practices, whether they're dental practices or medical practices or other practices, from coming to Cecil County and putting in legitimate medical services for our citizens, because it is a problem, and it was, I predicted it would be when it was enacted.
I was sitting out in the audience when this ordinance was passed, had huge reservations about the particular ordinance. It was done strictly to prevent methadone clinics. But you can't cite a methadone clinic in an ordinance. You've got to use all clinics which a doctor's office is considered. At that time, the commissioners that voted for that ordinance were very specific in stating, and I think you can go back to the audio and check it, that variances would be liberally granted to doctors. So I'm sorry that the two commissioners, the two council people that were commissioners at the time are not here to hear you. But I think it's real important that you filed for a variance.
I did.
And you were denied?
That's correct.
Who denied it? The planning commission?
Board of Appeals.
Board of Appeals.
Wasn't it our understanding when that ordinance was passed that any legitimate doctor or dentist that wanted to expand or locate would be given a variance? I have a real issue with this.
Yeah, they had to abide by the variance criteria within the zoning ordinance. That was the issue. I think, I've spoken to planning and zoning. I think Mr. Drasimus may have an opportunity for a reconsideration or a new application.
The fact that that variance was denied, I think, tells me that sitting out there, I was bamboozled.
Well, the problem is that the appeals board has to follow the law.
Yeah.
They have to follow the
just
code
like we do.
that's enacted, and we have to say that I think that the applicant took it for granted that it would be granted and didn't present enough evidence to suggest that it would be.
Right, I've been in front of the appeals board with much tougher cases.
No, I realize
I've
that.
gone through, but I've been told the whole time, it's a doctor's office, it's a doc in the box,
You're gonna have to work a little harder, that's all. And I
Well, I have the
apologize, I
opportunity-
apologize, because I don't think there's a need. It creates another government regulation, it creates another step, it costs money, it takes time, it's really not necessary.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it has to wait for a settlement of a case or something like that, because it's not like, you can keep a tenant who, you know, you've been trying to fill the building for 4 years, you finally got it, it's not like you can keep them,
Right.
you know, warm. It's once, you know, it's a begging process to stay around until you try to have it worked out. Well, I have the opportunity at the regular meeting for the other commissioners to hear this.
Yes, you will.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, during
And I
public.
think that that's very
You
important.
can have
You
5
need to
minutes during
state
public
that,
comment
your
to
position.
repeat your dilemma.
Okay, can I make sure that I'm added to that? Or?
No, sign
Sign
up.
up.
Just sign up.
Right in front of you is another sign-up sheet for this public comment
Okay.
section of our legislative session.
All right, I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Steve O'Connor.
You're fine.
Good evening, my name is Steve O'Connor. I reside at 19 Hickory Lane in Elkton, and I am here to talk about the proposed employee policy and procedures, mostly because I'll be otherwise committed to put on the public hearing that's supposed to be on the 18th. I just want to say that I think that HR and the committee, they've done a wonderful job of putting together these proposed changes. And I think that, you know, overall it's going to streamline things. It'll be better for employees and be better for the county in general. I want to say that, you know, Cecil County has been very good to me. You know, if it wasn't for working here, you know, I went from a guy that graduated college in my parents' basement to meeting my wife here, and now I got my own family. And, yeah, like I said, I enjoy working here. I enjoy working for the council and the executive and the government. I got into public service not to make $1 million, but to enjoy public service. And, you know, it gives me its own reward. And I just wanted to provide positive feedback about this and hope that you find that the employees do a good job and that you provide some positive feedback to us. And if you had any questions or you want to hear an employee's perspective, I know there was quite a discussion last week, but I do think that what is proposed, at least what came out to us as employees in the HR focus, is very good. And like I said, it streamlines things, makes things simpler, and I think it would make for a better work environment overall.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have any questions.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to say something about tonight. I see a lot of new faces in the audience. I assume that many of you are here about the rezoning hearings that we will have tonight. I want to make it perfectly clear that the council will not be making a decision tonight. We will hear testimony from the applicant, those opposed, those in favor of the rezoning request. Then we will be deliberating and making a final decision on June 18th, I believe. Our next regular scheduled legislative meeting will be June the 18th is when we will be making the final decision. So we will be seriously considering the applications between now and then, and people that have not had the opportunity to testify tonight can certainly send emails and make phone calls to the council members to state their case on why the rezoning should be granted or not. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to say anything at all about the council, the Cecil County, or anything in Cecil County?
This is a quiet group. Any comments on the budget? It's passed. Nothing? We must be doing a great job.
Well, if no one else has anything to speak of, we're going to adjourn the Citizens Corner and reconvene at 7 o'clock for a regular scheduled legislative meeting. I welcome you to Cecil County government and I hope to see you tonight. I see a hand in the back, in the middle. Come on up.
Yes, is the rezoning, issue
issues being taken up in that meeting
Yes.
for the public to be able to speak?
Yes, but you need to sign up.
We
There's
need-
a sign up
where do you
sheet.
do that?
No, you don't need to sign up for public comment here. During public hearings, you don't need to sign up.
Okay, we'll
But
just ask
yes,
them
do-
to-
what we will be doing, we will be announcing the public hearing for, we have two rezoning applications tonight. And we'll be announcing one, and we'll say which one it is. We will all listen courteously to the applicant on why the rezoning should be granted. We will hear from the staff and the planning commission recommendations, and then we will allow the public, one at a time, to speak civilly as to why this application for rezoning should be or should not be granted. So we will give everyone in this room an opportunity to speak for or against the application tonight.
But we don't sign up for that.
You do not need to sign up for public hearings. If you have public comment that has nothing to do with the public hearings, then you sign up. During the public comment section, you need to sign up. But during public hearings, we will somehow organize, ask for citizens' input as to whether or not the zoning request is legitimate. Any other questions? Any other comments? We'll be anxious to hear what you have to say about the rezoning request tonight. So we're going to adjourn and be back at it at 7 o'clock. Thank you.